Let me just...
Do you want to talk about Doctor Strange first?
That's what I wanted to ask. Do you want to do Doctor Strange in the news episode, or do you want to do Doctor Strange... And then, because we had talked about doing the Boba Fett plot.
Let's do... We can say we were going to do that.
Okay. This cold open seems a lot slower than our normal ones. Like, it's just me, like, and it's just you crunching into the microphone. And people are going to be like, what the fuck? This isn't even a podcast anymore.
That's funny,
it's just ambient noise.
I feel like this is a lot faster than ours usually is.
Oh, no, it's faster,
okay.
but it just has nothingness to it. Like, it's
That's
just
true.
nothing.
Who knows? Maybe we won't have a cold open.
No. No. We'll probably still have one.
Yeah, probably. I can't imagine this show without one.
I can't imagine this show, period.
You don't have to. It exists.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Sort of.
That works out so well for me.
It does.
Did you get a quesadilla?
Fuck yeah, I got
I love when you get a quesadilla from the Chinese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, let's just crinkle this right into the mic. Right there. Let me take a swig of the old bravery juice, a.k.a. alcohol.
The bravery juice is like 3.5% alcohol content or something. I don't know that it's going to give you a whole lot of bravery.
I don't need a lot of bravery.
We're just going to have to drink more of it.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah! Alright, welcome to the Media Lunch Break, everybody, where we give you all of your comic, geek, and movie news all in the time it takes to eat a good sandwich, and then polish off the rest of that leftover Halloween candy. I'm Chris Treble. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host, Andrew Dunn. Say hello, Andrew.
I do like candy.
Yeah. I'm going to start with this. I touched on it last week. We are not a sports podcast, but I feel the need to at least note, as of this recording, last night, the Chicago Cubs, after 108 years, won the World Series. Did you? You don't watch sports, but did you watch any of the game at all?
You know, my girlfriend's sister lives in Chicago.
Right.
And she, of course, was freaking out, so my girlfriend was freaking out.
Right.
We put it on as soon as she got home. We watched it from maybe the 7th inning on.
Okay, yeah. And that's really where you needed to watch it. Like, it was riveting. Yeah. It was a riveting game.
Everyone thought it was over by the 7th inning.
It was amazing.
The Cubs
when they
were
tied
ahead
it
by
up
like 3.
in the 8th. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it had all the makings of a movie. Like, it was really cinematic. They were in the lead for most of the game. Then, what's his name hit the home run to tie it up in the bottom of the 8th.
Davis?
Yes. Then there was
from the Indians?
Yeah. Then there was a rain delay.
Yep.
Then there was, like, extra innings. Then there was a 2-run lead. Then it was a 1-run lead. It was craziness.
Well, they switched out, and we shouldn't talk too much about this, but I guess it's still technically geeky.
Yeah.
But they switched out for their, like, regular pitcher.
I think they used every pitcher they had.
Well, they did.
It was amazing.
But when they switched him out in the 8th inning, they switched him out because the guy who they had was their, like, backup guy.
Yeah.
And he was doing bad enough that he got one of the runners on first.
Yeah.
So they switched him out with the other guy, and he got, like, 3 of them home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. It was crazy. That guy was supposed to be the closer, and then, So, it was a riveting game. If you're in Chicago right now, whenever this
Stay
episode...
safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Because whenever this episode gets released, the looting is still going on. It's still there. Yeah. The cars are still burning.
For all eternity.
Yeah, that's just it. It's just going to go into...
For the next 108 years.
Between the crime rate in Chicago and now the Cubs winning the World Series, I think it just finally pushed Chicago over the edge into a demilitarized zone. I think that's it. That's it for them. It's just a no man's land. It's the Wild West from now on.
In 10 years it's going to be like Mad Max.
Yeah, it's going to be like fucking Westworld. It's going to be craziness. So good on you, Cubbies. Way to go.
Yeah.
All right, we got a lot of news. Do you have? I have a bunch of news. I don't know how much you have.
Do we want to do the news first, or do we want to do the other thing first so that gets put up before it comes out?
Ooh.
That was what I was asking before.
Oh, you want to reverse our order for this?
So that I can put it up tonight.
Okay, all right.
It opens tonight.
All right, well, then, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so here's what happened, everybody. One of us got to see Doctor Strange already early, and one of us didn't. And you'll know which one got to see it by this phrase, "You're a real son of a bitch, Andrew." You got to see Doctor Strange.
It was me. I got to see
That
it.
was amazing. Yeah.
I got it for work. It was funny, too, because I didn't know who else was going to be there. And when I got there, it was someone I didn't know. But it was someone from work. And I was like, oh, you.
Very
I've
nice.
seen you.
All right. Not awkward at all.
No.
All right. So we're going to try and talk about this without talking about it in a way that doesn't get us A, sued, or B, killed in our sleep.
I don't think we could get sued at this point. I think it's out in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, I think
it's been out in Australia for like a week.
Yeah. But in America...
Yeah.
Marvel's gonna slit our throats if we
I don't know that would happen. I think people would just never listen to us again.
Yeah, no, they'll probably never listen to us. That's ego, because that's saying that they listen to us now.
Well.
All right. I did not see it at all. You saw it. So this is all gonna pretty much go one way. So let's see what you can tell us without telling us anything.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty.
All right. I'm gonna start off with, I think, the number one question. Cumberbatch. How is he?
He's good.
Okay.
I was worried going in that the accent would be an issue.
Yes,
he
uses an American dialect.
He does, so the whole thing. I think they re-recorded after the first trailer. Because there are lines that are said in the trailer that are said differently in the movie, and they sound much better.
Okay. All right. Oh, overall, aside from the accent, talk a little more about...
Just quality
of him.
Of him in general. So he's
of the character and of the character. Maybe what they've done with the character that differs or is the same as the comics, that sort of thing.
So he is pretty similar as he is in the comics. He actually is a lot more like Tony Stark.
Okay.
Which we've heard reports of that from people who have seen it. Most reviews have said it's very much like the first Iron Man.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to position this as possibly like their second tentpole, as far as Robert Downey Jr. is not going to do this forever.
Right.
And he's the center of the Marvel Universe.
Right.
And when he goes, we need a new center, and maybe we can use Doctor Strange and we can reposition it.
Which is interesting, because I would much rather them take a different direction, because this is just more of the same. It's almost like frame for frame the same as the first movie for the first like 30 minutes, but in all honesty, it doesn't do it as well. We don't have enough exposition with the character. It's very quick. It's maybe 15 minutes before we really get into the action of what happens.
Okay.
But the basic is that he starts off, he's like a total asshole, but he's the best at what he does.
Right.
Which
is not different from the comics origin as well.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
The way so in the comics, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the comics over the past 50 or 60 years.
Yeah.
He gets into a car accident. He's the world's best surgeon.
Right.
He is drinking and then drives out in his Ferrari. He gets into a car accident from drinking and driving.
Like any other surgeon does.
Just like a surgeon.
so surgeon.
Touched for the very first time. And he crashes. His hands are messed up. He goes to Asia in search of something that will fix his hands.
Okay.
So in this one... And I don't feel like this is a spoiler, so I'll just say...
When you've got massive hand injuries, you go to Asia.
Why not?
On your own.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, this one does a really good job of he really goes through everyone he knows. And you see him, like, people are like, I'm not going to risk making the best surgeon in the world worse than he is now.
Okay, because that was my next thing... just about the origin story in general. Is like, he's a doctor. He has no doctor friends.
Right. But that's the thing, is his hands are so messed up.
Yeah.
That no one wants to work on them.
Okay.
He even sees a physical therapist for a while, but I think he gives up for some reason. It's very strange. It's very, very rushed in the beginning, which is too bad.
Yeah, because I think Marvel has said they're trying to get away from origin stories.
Yeah.
They're kind of tired of it. But with a character like this that is widely...
Well, that's the thing, is that this is... from start to finish, an origin story.
I know. I think this is one of the last ones that they're trying to do, because this character is kind of widely unknown.
Yeah. So is
Captain Marvel. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so what I was going to say is this isn't a spoiler, I don't think, but he isn't drinking when he gets into his car accident in the movie.
Oh, so they've kind of altered that a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call that a spoiler. You know what? Yeah. If you consider it a spoiler, I don't care.
Yeah. Sue us, Marvel.
Yeah.
Please don't sue us.
Please don't. We have nothing to give you. We have nothing. Okay, so, but overall, he's good, great, adequate. How would you rate him?
I would rate him as exactly what the character needs.
Okay.
there's nothing in this movie that makes me go, wow, Benedict Cumberbatch, good job, man.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a pull from obscurity to cast Benedict Cumberbatch.
He doesn't miss the mark.
Right.
And he doesn't exceed expectations.
Okay.
He fits right in.
Okay.
It feels natural. But yeah, he's good. He's good.
What about the next thing I was curious about? They've been talking a lot about the effects, that it's very acid trippy.
Yeah.
Is that not just accurate, but like, are they underplaying exactly how trippy it is? Are they overplaying it?
Look.
What's the feeling there? By the way, did you see it in IMAX or
No.
Did you see it in standard?
I saw just standard.
Okay.
Standard TV.
All right, great.
I will see it in IMAX if the gods allow this weekend.
Yeah.
See it in IMAX.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Really?
There's like 2 or 3 20-minute long scenes that are just outrageous.
Really?
Full of the best CGI I've ever seen. And oddly, some of the CGI not in those scenes is pretty bad. There are parts where I'm like, oh, that's a cartoon character. Like,
really?
Yeah, there's some parts where like someo's falling and I'm like, well, that's clearly made on someone's
CGI
like
person.
Windows 10 or something.
Really?
Yeah.
So it sounds like they kind of saved all their money for the big.
Yeah, I think so.
The
last 20 or 30 minutes are extraordinary. And when he first enters the temple and doesn't believe the Ancient One,
right,
she gives a small demonstration, and it is outrageous.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have heard some people say, it might be a good idea to go to this while you're under the influence of something.
Yes.
Don't go to this while you're under the influence of something.
That sounds
for
like
a couple reasons.
Yeah.
1, you'll miss it and it's amazing. 2, you might die.
Yeah. That's what I've heard from a lot of accounts. People are saying like, oh, it'd be interesting to go on acid on this, and then other people saying like, you'll have a heart attack.
Yeah.
You'll just go into cardiac arrest.
On the spot.
You'll think that you're in the movie. It's ridiculous. So compare it to give it something that anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet would know. Can you compare it to the scene in Ant-Man where he's going through the what is it, the microverse and the nanoverse or whatever
the
it's
atom
called?
when he's down to a subatomic level. The subatomic. Yeah. So there is actually a scene that, and I've actually read this around, and I actually noticed it as well when I was like, oh, that's what people are talking about. There's a part in that first 20-minute scene with the Ancient One where it looks like he's in the subatomic world.
Oh, okay.
It may have been just them like,
let's throw this in there.
Yeah, either regurgitating the same, like they're like, we had this on a hard drive, rather than spend $1 million, let's just put it in here.
Right.
But it also might have been like a nod to be like, no, he's in the subatomic universe or something. But I'm not sure about that. It covers. I mean, if I were to call that a genre, the style, it was very. What do they call those spinny things with the shapes?
Yeah.
Kaleidoscope?
Yes.
It was very kaleidoscopic.
Yeah.
This, I would say, has... If kaleidoscopic is a genre, there are 10 other genres that we see.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
There are... I mean, he goes through different worlds and dimensions.
Is one of them the Inception verse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Not in that one. Not in that scene. But they do a lot of stuff with, like, buildings closing on each other.
Yeah.
It's righteous.
Pretty outstanding.
The CGI alone, I would pay $50 to see that movie again.
Oh, you hear that, Marvel?
It's very good.
All right, awesome.
I want to talk a little bit as well about the supporting cast.
Yes, please do.
Wong is pretty good.
Okay.
What's that guy's name? Mordo? Whatever his sidekick is. I can never remember. Or no, the guy who in the comics turns evil.
Give me do you know the character's name? Or not the
actor's
character
name?
Yeah, the actor's name.
I could almost spell it for you.
Ejiofor, that's who you're
the
talking
one.
about?
Yeah, Chiwetrey
Yep, Smith.
That's the guy. Yeah, Smith. He is very good. And of course, Tilda Swinton is fantastic.
Okay.
Rachel McAdams?
Yeah, okay. You know what? I don't know how much you could talk about her character because they really have kind of been tight-lipped on what her character is.
Well, there's a reason.
Is it a big reveal?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it a reveal of...
No.
Like, is it a plot point?
No.
Is it they've been tight-lipped because she's actually absolutely nothing and they don't want to admit it?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, there's nothing to say about her.
Okay.
She is just another Marvel female that they have introduced so that if they want to, they can have a romantic interest.
So is she
and
like
if they don't want to, they can just throw her away.
She's kind of the Natalie Portman of
Yes.
this? Okay.
I mean, Not from Thor.
Yeah, from Thor. Yeah, no. I meant, I figured Rachel McAdams was interpreting the character if Natalie Portman was being a
You
nurse.
mean the Jane Foster, I
Yes,
believe.
that's what I meant, the Jane Foster. Because, Pepper Potts,
Right.
they've at least developed enough that
she was
she's
pretty important in the first one. Even in Avengers,
throughout the trilogy and even in the Avengers.
She owns Stark Enterprises by, I think, the second
She plays
movie.
an actual kind of role.
Yeah. And even in the third one, which I pan a lot, but even in the third one, she's pretty important.
Yeah, but Jane Foster is,
it's funny.
I would even go as far as Liv Tyler to pull from The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Just having nothing to do.
Well, I actually haven't seen that. Oh, no, Liv Tyler, that one I have seen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Jennifer Connelly one.
You're doing yourself a favor, don't worry.
I know, I refuse.
Yeah.
Rachel McAdams has a smaller part in this than I think any other female in any other Marvel movie that we've seen so far.
Really?
Yeah, maybe 3 scenes?
Really?
Maybe?
Because they made kind of a big deal that she's in.
She is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You would say Rachel McAdams is in this.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
She's just...
So they don't, other than a love interest, they don't really set her up to be anything else.
They don't even really set her up to be a love interest.
Really?
She's hanging. She's hanging from the wire.
Okay, because we had talked about, I forget if it was the last episode or a couple episodes ago, the idea that, her and Rosario Dawson, yeah, I'm saying that name right.
Yeah,
Rosario Dawson, they might end up being the night nurses, because in the comics it's 3 people are the night nurse, and that they may at some point incorporate those 2 characters together to be you don't think, based on what they give you in this movie, it doesn't even feel like it's going in that direction?
Based on that, not at all.
Okay, interesting. What about Mads Mikkelsen?
He's good.
Yeah,
not he particularly, but this character suffers yet again from... I'm going to move this just in case.
Just in case you feel the need to eat it.
Well, just in case it's rubbing up against something when you talk. But,
by the way, he's talking about some of the food that's on the table, not anything else that's just rubbing up against something and making a noise. Ah, you got it in my domain.
Made that awkward.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen is great.
Okay.
His character greatly suffers from the same disease.
Marvelitis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't really seem... he sort of has a reason... But he also is just another guy who's fighting a guy with the same powers as him.
Yeah, it's just another sorcerer who's like, I want what you have. Yeah. And I'm going to use it for evil.
It's not I want what you have, so his desires are different.
Right.
He is trying to do something that will harm the world.
Right.
And Stephen Strange, who is this nobody in the magic world right now, is like, I'm the only one left, I've got to do something.
Okay.
Or he's right in front of me, someone's got to stop him, that sort of thing.
Did at any point during the plot did you go, well, there's no reason Stephen Strange should be the one who has to do this if he's the newest guy there? Do you know what I mean? Why don't they just get, without spoiling anything, why don't they just get some other wizard to do, you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, okay, so this is
by the way, it's wizard, right? With Doctor Strange, it's a wizard. Is he a wizard? Sorcerer?
Sorcerer, yeah. Magic user. Because there's the Sorcerer Supreme, who is the ancient one.
Right.
I don't know that they have necessarily names like that.
What's the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer? If you're in the void and you know the difference between a sorcerer and a wizard...
Or have
Google and will... Oh, fuck. I just realized this is still on, and we might be clicking. And have Google and... will do the work for us. Tell us what the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer are, because I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna do the effort to actually go and find it out, because I don't care that much.
No.
But I'm interested. And if you do this, you can use very condescending terms to tell us.
Oh,
that's
please,
fine.
please, it's encouraged.
Yeah.
So
let's say sorcerer. I think that's the politically correct term for them. For those people.
So the first 5 minutes. So I don't think this is a spoiler.
Everybody dies.
It's literally the opening of the movie. Actually, that's very funny that you said that, and I won't say why, because it is a spoiler at the very end.
I spoiled myself! Once again, I've spoiled myself.
Man, the ending of this movie is so good. I won't say anything.
I actually kind of want to get to that. I don't want to get to the actual spoiling the end, but yeah.
So the beginning of this movie starts with the best sorcerer that the Ancient One has trained.
Okay.
Ripping pages out of a secret book and running off and killing a bunch of people.
First of all, that's not cool.
No.
I hate it when people rip pages out of books.
Yep.
That's going to bug me right away. Like, whenever there's a movie...
that's the thing. You're going to hate him.
You ever watch an old movie and they go to the phone book in the telephone booth?
What is that
and they're
about?
like, there's the address, and they're like, and they just rip it out, and I'm like, what a dick move!
You know what bothers me more than that? Is when they're on the phone and no one says goodbye.
Yeah, they just hang up.
You're like, I'll be there in 5 minutes. All right.
Yeah, and they just... Yeah, what a rude... It was a rude time back then. What I'm thinking of is the 80s/90s.
Yep, the television universe.
Yeah, what a bunch of assholes they all were.
So, anyway, their best sorcerer is no longer there.
And he ripped telephone pages out. So nobody knows where to go to find good pizza. This is the plot of Doctor Strange? Did I figure this out?
That's pretty... I can't say.
But
I don't want to spoil.
Is being able to find the best pizza highly involved in the plot?
It might be shawarma.
Okay, yeah, that would be fine.
That would make more sense.
Yeah,
right?
it would make more sense.
Let me see what else. So they do acknowledge that he is sort of a chosen one, like
Stephen Strange's.
Yes, that he's learning very quickly. The Ancient One senses when she first encounters him, she sort of kicks him out.
Right.
And there's a discussion between her and
Chitwell Ejiofor. Smith. As always in the show, if we don't know how to say a name, we just call him Smith.
When Smith and the Ancient One are talking to each other, and he's like, why didn't you train him? And she's like, look, I already trained one really powerful guy, and you see what happened, so I'm not doing that again. Basically, yeah. No, but he ripped out the phone pages and took off, so I'm not...
I haven't been able to get good shawarma since. It was a real dick move, and I'm not risking it again. I finally found this good Indian place, and the first thing I know, as soon as I train this guy, he's going to rip the page out with the good Indian place, and then I'm going to be stuck just getting Subway all the time.
Shawarma is not Indian.
Yeah, but no, because the bad guy took the shawarma place. And now she found a good Indian place. I'm just writing my own movie. Keep going.
Oh, and this guy's gonna...
And this guy's gonna rip... yeah, Doctor Strange is gonna rip the Indian place out.
That's the sequel.
And now she's just gonna be stuck getting Subway all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, what the fuck are we talking about?
I have no idea anymore. No, we're talking about... What the fuck were we talking about? We were talking about the villain. It'll come back to us. Tweet us what the fuck we were talking about. We'll get back to it next week.
He's good. Great, like, makeup and special effects on him. He's got these, like, crazy eye things going on. They're pretty cool.
Damn it.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm right. I was shocked that he had great makeup.
He probably did it himself.
Well, wait, it's not just the, like, grease painty eye looking
No,
thing?
it's like, it looks like, almost like volcanic. Like,
What?
he has, like, purple, like, glittery on the inside, but then on the outside it's all, like, rocky.
So he's David Bowie? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's hard to explain, but it's like gravel around the sides of his eyes.
Okay. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's not explicitly explained, but like it happens when something else happens.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, so basically, on the villain, we'll say?
He's great. Mads Mikkelsen is fantastic.
Yeah, not the actor. I just meant what they give him to do.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's another thing I want to say about this, and this pertains mostly to Mads Mikkelsen. The fight choreography in this is astounding.
Really?
Like, I'm really looking forward even more now to Iron Fist, because the fight choreography in this, if it's anything like the fight choreography in this, it's going to be amazing.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of martial arts in it.
Is it kind of a close-knit thing, or is it a big kind of... how should I put this? Like a Bourne Identity type of, like a close quarters fighting? Or
No,
is
it's much more, like, traditional.
Yeah, elegant
kung fu,
kind of.
yeah.
Okay. That really went down the wrong pipe there. I don't know what happened. All right.
Talking about his cider, not something else that might have. It's fine. Don't worry.
It's
don't
the
worry
same thing
it.
that was rubbing up against the mic. Let's just put it that way. Any surprises?
Oh.
Because, like we said before, this seems to be a kind of typical origin story. Mm-hmm. Like, the one thing that... Everyone loves Ant-Man, and I love Ant-Man too.
Yeah.
But the one drawback that I had against Ant-Man that especially after having all of the Iron Man movies, Captain America, 2 Thors, a Hulk, and I think and 2 Avengers.
I already know where you're going with this.
It's that it was like the same movie I've seen 1,000 times, just with a different character. So I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. And I'll go along for the ride because I like the character and it's a Marvel movie, so it's a good quality.
I'm gonna tell you what I've told everyone who asks me about the movie who I don't work with.
Okay.
So like my girlfriend, just regular people who are fans.
Like.
Yeah, and who I trust to speak my mind.
Right.
Without the CGI, in all honesty, and I'm hesitant to say this, it would be the worst of the good Marvel movies.
Okay.
So, it's better than Iron Man 3 and 2. It's better than Thor.
Right.
But it really feels like someone watched Iron Man and was like, I could do that. And they just make like a slightly worse version of it. But again, the CGI is outrageous. That alone is... I normally am not one to say like, hey, you should spend money just to see CGI. Right. And I'm not saying that because it is still a pretty good movie.
Yeah, there's enough plot and character to support going to see it.
You can really feel Dan Harmon in it.
Oh, that's right. He had a hand in this.
You can... that's... Honestly, I don't know if this helps it or hurts it, but there is a distinct juxtaposition, a dichotomy between the comedy and the horror.
Right.
Because there are some jump scares.
Well, because Scott Derrickson is... one of the things that I really liked about... was looking forward to this movie is that Scott Derrickson is directing it, who is known to be a horror director. And I was like, oh, that's great, because now we're going to go into that genre using the Marvel Universe, and this is the right character to do it. But then you say Dan Harmon...
You're going to be a little disappointed.
Okay. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be like The Conjuring.
Right. But it doesn't seem like they take any elements of horror. Okay. Every now and then there's a jump scare. Okay. Every now and then the music sort of fades off, and then there's a big crescendo, and something jumps out or something. Right. But otherwise, it's extremely funny, which I wish they would learn from the Russo brothers and just like sort of pull that back a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
use it.
Pick and choose your best jokes. You know, because there's probably a slapstick gag like every 10 minutes or so.
Really?
There's a lot of... I'll give an example. This isn't too much of a spoiler. It's pretty early on. When he first meets Wong, Wong says his name, and he says it's just Wong, like Adele, Drake, and he just sort of goes on, Cher. Right. And then the last one, and Wong's just staring at him, and he's like, come on, you know these guys, right? And he's like, Beyonce? And he's like, you have to have Beyonce here, and there's no... And he's like, all right, fine, whatever. And he leaves, and one of the next scenes is Wong sitting in the library reading a book, and he has his headphones in, and he's listening to Single Ladies.
Right.
That kind of bit.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Like, there's a lot of that that's like, you almost hit... Like, it's still funny. Yeah. And you almost hit that mark.
It almost feels like see, this is the thing, is it's kind of weird for Marvel because this is their first foray into the mystic realm. Yes. And that humor would have played great in Iron Man. It would have played great in Captain America. What I'm saying is, it would have played great in our real world.
I think it'd be great in Spider-Man.
Right. But what I'm saying is, that's a real world type of joke. Like, I could see Tony Stark making a comment like that, and it really landed because he's talking to some random tech guy, or you know what I mean? Like, he's talking to a real person.
Well, I could certainly see the comments being, that's fine, but the punchline just feels a little off.
But that's what I mean, is that the punchline would have worked.
It's possible.
You know what I mean? Like, because you're talking to real people in a real setting.
It's hard to say. They do a good job of making this feel like real people in a real setting. I mean, Stephen Strange is very much the everyman. Right. As big of an asshole as he is.
Right, but what I'm saying is they're in the, what do they call it? The astral plane. You know what I mean? Like, they're in an ancient temple. The whole setting is kind of off from where that joke would live really well.
Well, and I think that's sort of what they were banking on, is that they're in this sort of mystical area. Yeah. So, like, you have jokes like the Wi-Fi password joke and stuff like that. I think they were sort of banking on that, and it mostly works, but it's not great. Their delivery is not, and I think it's more the editing. I think the editing delivery just doesn't, like, I think the person, whoever's in charge of editing, doesn't know whether to make it a horror movie or a comedy.
Right, okay. I gotcha. Any other actual surprises as far as something in the plot
that
you can't... I mean, not that you could spoil it.
Right, but I think that's... I would say that's probably a pretty big problem. If I had to pick the biggest problem with this, with this movie, is that there really aren't any.
That's okay. So you kind of went in going, oh, this is going to happen, then this, then this, then this.
Well, not necessarily, but there wasn't anything that... And I won't say anything about the after credit scene, other than even the after credit scene, I was hoping something would happen that would make me go... But I was just like, oh, all right.
First of all, okay, since we're on this subject, the after credit scene, are there two? Because sometimes there's a mid and a, okay.
Yeah, there's two. There's one, mid credits and a post credits.
And a post credits. The mid credits, Doctor Strange related?
Yes, yes, he's in it.
Okay, all right. Intriguing. Your response.
So he doesn't die.
Yeah. No, but okay. All right. But your response kind of intrigued me.
I will say, and I won't say which one, it pertains to another movie that is on the roster coming up.
Okay. All right.
That they have announced.
Excellent. Post credits. Doctor Strange are completely unrelated. The way that the post credit scene in Ant-Man was pretty much for Civil War.
Oh, right, sure. But
you said I know a guy, but you know what I'm saying.
But the mid-credit scene for that movie was for Wasp, right? Doesn't she sort of find the thing? Yes,
that's the Wasp thing.
So in this, they've switched it.
Okay.
So the end credits of this, after credits of this movie is...
completely Doctor Strange related?
Doctor Strange 2 setup is what I would say.
Yeah. But the mid-credit scene relates to...
Another movie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, kind of in that vein... This kind of last question I've got for you. How do you feel it fits in the overall universe?
Well, when they kill Tony Stark in it,
right?
When
feels
Doctor
like a real
Strange,
turning point.
Yeah, it did. That wasn't a surprise though, clearly, because I said there were no surprises.
Yes, yeah, you saw it coming in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you were like, oh, he's just gonna jump.
When Doctor Strange was like, saw an article of Tony Stark, and he was like, I'll tell you what, if I had the chance, I'd off that guy in a second. And then as soon as he got his powers, he was like,
there can be only one.
He was like, knock, knock, knock. And he just killed Tony Stark.
That's pretty good. Oh, what was your question? How does it
fit in the overall in the compared to the rest of the universe? Or with the rest of the universe?
It's hard to say. I'm a little worried that they are putting a person who is sort of all-powerful into this universe.
Okay.
Because he is fucking all-powerful. He does some crazy shit in it.
He's a sorcerer. Or wizard. Or both.
Or conjurer of some kind.
Or contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conjuring.
He could conjure.
He could contract.
Lay carpet.
He could contract herpes.
He could give it. I mean, if he's contracted it...
And he's a sorcerer, so he could probably do it from across the room.
He's friends with a nurse, so he could get an ointment to clear that right up.
That's true.
Yeah. So you're right, he is all-powerful.
I am a little worried about that.
Who else are you going to put up against him?
Yeah, or if he joins the Avengers...
Right. What's the point of having everybody else?
Right. Yeah. That's the real thing.
I mean, when he's been on the Avengers before...
And that's been a problem.
Oh, has it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's one of the reasons why he sort of leads and does other stuff. Or a lot of times they will sort of find things like... Well, a lot of times in the comics he has to say spells. That is not the case in this movie. So a lot of times they'll find ways to cover his mouth
him or something. Yeah. Okay.
Or bind his hands. They do sometimes in the comics, which I think that would probably work on this rendition.
Yeah, he can't just
He can't just
out of his clear mind. Yeah. I mean, he's a sorcerer. He's not a fucking magician. I don't know. I don't know what a weird comparison is. All right. I guess then let's do it this way. Rank it. Where in the... You said this is in the top 5... Or no, compared to the good Marvel movies...
I said it's the worst. I mean, without the CGI.
That's what you said. It's the worst of the good Marvel movies.
Right.
So where does it fall?
All together. It's really an awesome trip.
Okay. What's your, just for a scale, what's your top Marvel movie?
Probably, it might be a tie between Civil War and Guardians.
Okay. What's your bottom?
Ant-Man. Well, you mean worst?
Worst. All of them.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. Okay. So where kind of between those two does it land?
There's so many. Probably slightly above center. Like, it's not better than Iron Man. It's not better than Guardians. It's not better than Civil War or Winter Soldier.
But it's better than Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than both Thors.
Yep.
It's better than
Ant-Man. It's better than the other two.
It's better than Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I would put Ant-Man as the worst of the good ones.
Right. And then after that, it gets into just
garbage. I think there's just a huge jump that, like, just worthless. Like, movies that are actually bad.
So 2 Thors and the Hulk. Are you throwing First Avenger in there? Captain America, I mean.
In the bad ones?
Yeah.
No way. I love that movie.
I don't know.
No, mine. I actually liked the second Thor movie, but
that one doesn't get enough credit. Yeah. I actually really like that movie.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while.
Eccleston is really good.
Which one?
Eccleston, the villain.
Yeah, he's really good.
Who's Doctor Who?
Yes, he was.
But it's and Odin and Loki is. Tom Hiddleston is fantastic. And anyway,
really good.
But I would put it as, like, sort of the lower, maybe right above Ant-Man.
Okay.
Is where I would put Thor 2.
Okay.
But I would put Thor 1 in the bad ones, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, probably the Hulk. Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed it, but it's not on the same level, you know? It doesn't have the same funding. It just doesn't feel as authentic.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would put it probably in just above center.
Right.
Because there are 3 tiers of Marvel movies.
Right.
The ones that are actually pretty bad, the ones that are, like, mediocre,
right,
or mediocre to good,
right,
and then there's this gap that leads to just, like, outrageously fantastic.
Sure.
Okay. So there's somewhere in between, like, this movie is somewhere in between, like, mediocre and outrageously fantastic.
Okay. So if it's opening this weekend, is it worth, like, fighting the crowds to go see, or is it fine to kind of give it?
It's not worth fighting the crowds. There's nothing that can be spoiled for you in this movie.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Like Civil War, I would argue, was a movie worth fighting the crowds to go see opening weekend.
Yes.
This is like, hey, give it a week and so that you can just get your tickets easy and don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth seeing in theaters. It's worth seeing in IMAX.
Yeah.
I would wait.
But it's definitely going to be around longer than a week anyway, so
right.
it's not.
It's not. I was going to say maybe even wait until the DVD, but then you won't get the same experience with the CGI.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Any last thoughts before we just go on to reading assignments?
Doctor Strange needed different facial hair.
What the fuck are you talking? What?
He needed different facial hair.
Than what he has in the comics?
Than what he has. Well, yeah, sort of. He needed something else because
handlebar and button chops,
even full beard, like literally
full beard,
literally anything other than the Tony Stark goatee.
Because but that's what he has in the.
It depends on which one you watch. Sometimes he just has a mustache. Sometimes he has like a thin beard.
I wanted to not talk and see how many different facial hair.
That's all I know.
Variations that we could go through.
There aren't any others.
Would you like lumberjack type of like full on brawny paper towel man-esque beard?
He has that for a little while.
Yeah, he does when he's roaming around Asia because he can't find a hand surgeon.
Yeah.
So you think keep that instead?
Maybe not. It's a little puby.
Wash it out a little bit.
Maybe. Give it some...
It looks a little bird's nesty by the time he gets to the
Just rub some Rogaine in there.
Yeah, just
it's a little thin.
Yeah. All right. Some hair club for men.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Reading assignments?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. You want to start or should I start? I'll start. I guess that's me, as you just stare awkwardly and chew. So you gave me... The fuck did you give me? Oh, no, I know what you gave me. No, it's funny. It's in my bag, and I just read it yesterday. You gave me Dark Knight by Paul Dini. This is an interesting thing. So basically the backstory for this is Paul Dini, for those of you who don't know for some reason and are listening to a podcast like this, don't know Paul Dini, he was a big influential part of Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, the ones that we grew up on. He's most famous for creating the character of Harley Quinn. Which started in that series, and it's one of the few characters ever to go from a TV show or a movie to the comics and become legitimized.
Yeah.
So what happened was, and he's been known throughout animation. He works a lot with Warner Brothers, and they talk about that in the book. He worked on Tiny Toons. He worked on a couple other things. Usually now anything Batman related he works on. The Arkham games, if you love those, he developed the story for that. Yada yada yada. During his time doing Batman the Animated Series, specifically, if you want a real specific timeline, when they were writing Mask of the Phantasm, the Batman animated movie, Paul Dini was mugged and beaten by two people in Los Angeles, about 2 blocks from his apartment, pretty severely. And this is a book about... It's a lot about him, and it's a lot about him coping with that pain and the emotions that come when you suffer something traumatic like that. And also, especially from a very unique point of view, as someone who deals with fictional superheroes every day, who deal with the most powerful beings imaginable, and then is kind of rocked into a real life situation.
Well, I was going to say too, on top of the mugging, he also is a guy who is already an outcast.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That was one of the things that I found interesting about this book. I'd known a little bit about it before you had given it to me. The mugging doesn't really happen until about halfway through.
Yeah.
So it deals a lot with his emotional issues beforehand. He kind of tees himself up really well before the actual event of the story happens.
I mean, it tells... it's a great indicator of how well the stories of the Batman animated series were told.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of exposition. You really get a full amount of just well-rounded
It's a lot of texture and color going into this, so that by the time the first punch is thrown, you know how much it hurts, and I don't mean physically.
Yes.
You know, and you know exactly.
Yeah,
you know exactly just where the rest of the story is going to go.
How hard it's going to be.
It's going to be to come back from it. This is it's very interesting. I gotta say, I will say this. I don't know if you know this about me. I was mugged once. I was actually mugged at gunpoint once. So a lot of I was interested to read this story because I recognize a lot of the issues that he had. I was fortunate enough and thankfully was not beaten. I was not touched during the entire thing. So I didn't have any physical recovery that I had to go through, but a lot of the emotional things that he deals with. And I remember having thoughts a lot like the ones he had as far as being a person who loves comics and loves heroes and likes to think that by reading these things, you are soaking in through some sort of weird osmosis the characteristics and the attributes of these characters.
Sure.
And then being faced with that reality of like, no, when I get mugged, I just nearly piss my pants and just give him my wallet.
Yeah.
And I don't fight back. And then when they leave, or in this case, when they leave you just beaten to die, there's nothing glib, there's nothing witty to say, there's no good comeback, there's no great turnabout in this event. You just kind of have to move on.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily get a closure with it. And it was really interesting. One of the things, to get back to the specific story of the book, one of the things that I really found interesting about this is that he uses his Batman characters as kind of his subconscious that he's telling the story, both before the mugging and after the mugging. And he uses them to great effect as far as, Poison Ivy seems to represent one aspect of his personality. The Penguin represents another. The Two-Face represents something else. The Joker seems to just be kind of an overall. But what I found really interesting is that he doesn't use the animated series version of those characters.
Correct.
Which he could have totally done, and it would have worked to great effect. But I found it very interesting because then you're not getting... It's not his characters come to life.
Right.
It is a real embodiment of what he feels.
Yeah.
and he's
in a new body.
Which was really interesting to me. And it doesn't strike you at first until there's one panel where they actually show the animated Joker, and then it clicks for you. Oh, I haven't actually seen that Joker except for this one panel.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting.
I will say, I don't know that he could have gotten the rights to that, because it was Tim Rice.
Yeah.
This isn't a Warner Brothers production. I mean, it sort of is, because it's DC, but it's not
I mean, even if he had... I think it was...
Is it Tim Rice? Is that his name?
No, that's the guy who wrote the music for The Lion King.
Oh, God. Who did the art?
Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't know how much they could have gotten the rights for. I mean, they have a little bit of... They quote the movie a little bit, and like I said, there's one panel of the actual Joker. And they do show logos and certain things. So there was obviously some permission.
But I think that those are in the context of this show.
Right.
Like...
I know what you're saying. There's an intellectual property to use those characters.
Right. To say, we're watching the TV show now, and here's that character.
But even so, they don't try and get close. You know what I mean? They don't try and do like a knockoff of it. No, I agree. It's very, very different.
It really feels like... who did the art for this? You know?
That's a good question.
It's not a name I recognized. I remember I looked at it, but it's not one I know.
Eduardo Rizzo or Rizzo?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know. It's kind of... If I had to compare it to someone, it's kind of Tim Sale-esque.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Long Halloween and Superman, Man for All Seasons.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the reason I brought that up is because whoever does the art, guy, Rizzo, does a great job of making these characters look like the real characters in the... They're still very clearly not, all the real characters are very clearly human, and these characters are clearly not human.
Are very big embodiment.
But they look like, it's all the same art style.
Yes.
It's not like we're in a real world, and then he sees a cartoon.
Yeah, it's not like an Alex Ross and then a clear illustration of something.
But I was going to say, if you would use the Bruce Timm art, it would be very clearly a real life situation, and then cartoons appear.
Yeah.
It'd be more like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. But I thought, I thought that was a detail. Like I said, it's not something that clicked until I actually saw the animated Joker. And then I went, oh man, none of these characters look anything like, this is his own personality coming forth. These are the characters that, if the reins were taken off, this is what they would be for him. Which was really interesting. And then, like I said, just the way that he incorporates his work and his time at the animated series. I will say this, and they mentioned this in the book, as kind of a warning for anyone who's interested in the book. It's a great, great read. If you're looking for more of a history of the animated series and a behind-the-scenes thing, it's not that.
No.
There's a little bit of it.
Barely a biography on Paul Dini.
Yeah. There's a little bit of it as it pertains to the actual Muggy and his emotional journey. Because eventually work, as in all things in life, work is going to come to clash with that. But if you're looking for this is what it was like to work at Warner Brothers at this time, and this is this guy, and this is what happened to get this.
And I would say it's more like a Being John Malkovich style.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's very real and gritty at times, but it's also incredibly surreal.
Yeah. But it was really interesting.
There's a great moment as well where, not to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
There's a great moment where he talks about pitching an episode of Batman where he mixes with Sandman.
Oh man, that is worth the read alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because that honestly, just to read
so good.
That potential.
Can you
Batman
imagine if we had that
episode was great.
Can you imagine if that was part of the?
It would have been. Oh, that would have been the greatest episode ever.
Yeah,
it really is
on
good.
Top.
Just. If you're intrigued by what we just said, go buy the book because those 3 pages alone are worth the read. But yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. So I gave you a one issue. This is I said there's kind of a 2-parter idea to these reading assignments. So this was kind of part 1. So I gave you a 1 issue.
Gotham Knight.
Gotham Knights. Yeah. So this was a line that they started, and then I think they discontinued it pretty quickly. But this was the first issue of it, and it kind of reads like a one-shot, at least in my opinion.
Agreed.
But what were your? Go ahead with your thoughts.
I liked it.
Okay.
There are little things that I had problems with in the art.
You know, after rereading it, I also went, "Oh shit! I should have warned you about some of the things," because it plays into a continuity.
That I didn't have a problem with. I picked up with that pretty well. Like I figured out like, oh, whatever, how you pronounce that word that starts with an X. Like Shodo or
yeah.
No, it's a gang. Like I was like, okay, I get that. Like I get these people. I understand this is. They did a pretty good job of like.
Right.
I mean, you can't drift while you read it, but if you can't like zone out,
right?
Unless you've read the previous issues, I would imagine the previous comics. But I was able to be like, oh, okay, this guy's a commissioner, this guy's a senator.
Right.
Okay, this is one of. Okay, I get it. I can pick up on it. Stuff like there's a shot where, what's her name? It's not Enchantress, but it's something
Huntress.
Like that. Huntress.
Yes.
Where they get a shot of Huntress on the camera.
I know when she's like she was like going after somebody, and they're like, "Oh, Huntress has already got her."
Right. So there's a panel where they have the picture there, and it's like on Oracle's computer screen,
right?
And she has clearly just right-clicked on it, and there's a drop-down menu that has things like pause, copy, enhance, and other stuff. And I was like, that's not how that works. You can't just click enhance and it makes it better on a security camera.
Listen, on Oracle's computer,
you can.
Okay.
But so suspension of disbelief and all that. Overall, it was pretty good. It was very rushed.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
I immediately so I don't want to ruin this.
Right.
But...
Well, okay, let me ask you, because one of the things I liked about it's actually one of my favorite Batman stories. I like that it is one of those whodunits. So my real burning question is, did you figure out who did it kind of early on? Okay.
Yeah.
There's
a scene where he meets with the person who did it.
Right.
And he's just sort of talking with that person.
Right.
That might spoil it. I'll probably cut this out because he only meets with like one person.
Yeah, that's true.
But and then the way the person responded, I was like, oh,
okay. Did that take away from it? Or did it still kind of...
It didn't. What took away from it was how short it was. I really wanted...
Yeah, it is kind of an interesting... see, that's the thing. Is like the whodunit... Like, the thing I love about it is who did it. And I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, I want to talk about it.
All right, I think we have to spoil it. From this point on, just shut it off.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
I don't think there's any way to talk about this without spoiling it.
So the plot of this is two parents are murdered. And Batman is going around trying to figure out who did it. And everybody in the Bat family keeps saying he needs to pull back from this. He's a little too close. He needs to let somebody else do it because he's too close to it. He can't see the full picture because, this is the spoiler part, in the end it turns out the kid did it. The kid actually killed his own parents. And Batman doesn't want to believe it. What I love about this, and this is why I signed it, I actually love it just for that one panel where he says the thing about, do you have any idea what you lost?
Yeah.
Which is the first time I ever read this story, I was like, that is ingenious. And
yeah.
Because you never see Batman get so emotionally involved.
I was going to say, one thing, this comic, I feel a lot of love and hate for it, because I feel like it could have been really good.
Yeah.
And some of the things they do really well is this is one of the few comics where you really see Batman's hope and optimism.
Yeah. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah. It's almost as though the more he thinks about his parents, the more normal he becomes.
Yes.
Because clearly he's thinking about his parents a lot more on this case, and he is becoming hopeful and optimistic, even in a dark, sort of pathetic kind of way, almost.
I just find it interesting because I think that it's one of the few times you see Batman as a human and not some sort of weird entity. Right. And this idea of just in that one quote that what have you done? Do you understand what you've lost?
Yes.
You see, like, basically what he's saying is like, I don't want to be Batman.
Yeah.
I would give anything not to be Batman because that means my parents would be alive and I would have been a well-adjusted kid.
Well, and they do
I don't want to be this.
They do a great job as well as of setting him up in the community of New Gotham,
right?
As a being that might not even exist.
Yes,
this is a demon or a mutant of some kind or some kind of beast. It might be a person, but it's unlikely. Or might not even exist. Maybe it's the wind. You know? So for him to be both now, where he is not only a monster and non-existent and everything your worst nightmares have ever dreamt of, but he's also just a guy.
Just a guy. Yeah,
which is nice. when he meets with the kid, the first time he meets with him, he's like, hey, would you like to talk about anything? And the kid literally goes, no, question mark.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he did it.
Well, what's funny is I think that's up to... What was I saying? I think it's kind of up to an interpretation of how you read those words. Because I think the first time I ever read this story, in the ... I read trepidation, or I read like not being able to express what he's feeling, so he says no. Whereas you read something slightly more...
Sort of, arrogance.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
I think that scene should have been Batman trying to have a conversation, trying to get him to open up,
right,
and him not opening up, because that would have been much more believable for me if he's just like, or that would have read that way to me, where it could have been either or, where he's either not trying to incriminate himself,
right,
or he just he's not ready to open up about it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I always forget how short this story is.
Really short.
It is really short. I always think it's a longer story.
Yeah,
and I actually wish it was I wish it was a mini series.
I was going to say
this should have been... It would be really interesting to go all throughout, kind of the way... I mean, Long Halloween is a maxi series. That's right. It doesn't need it that long.
I was going to say...
But I would love to do if it was a 6-issue...
Sure, I could even see longer than that. I was going to say a trade paperback of some kind.
But that's what I mean. Just take you in and out, and you think it's this, and it's red herring after red herring after red herring.
Even like the Long Halloween, because we didn't... That was the other thing. If it's a whodunit, you only meet one of the people...
Yeah.
It's not a very good whodunit.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, in my mind when I assign this, every time I think about it, I'm like, I love this story so much for that kind of twist. Yeah. But then I always forget, it's actually not as long as I think it is. I forget that the kid is really the only person.
I was like, it's either the kid or Batman, which I actually thought it might have been.
It could have been Batman,
because
that would have been good.
He said at one point there's only one witness, and he used a description that was like. And he lost his parents or something. And I was like, is it Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
For a minute, I was like, is Bruce Wayne the only witness?
Nice. All right. Yeah, I'll accept that. Let's see. You want to go on? Let's go on to what we're doing next week.
You mean assignments?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's usually what we do next.
So since we're talking about you, and like I said, this is kind of, I kind of teed it up for another kind of whodunit. I forgot to bring it with me, but I will get it to you. I'm giving you Batman Hush.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Jim Lee's famous, I think it's 12 parts, if I remember correctly, 12-part maxi series. Jim Lee's art in this is beautiful. Sure. It is amazing. I think if I'm remembering this correctly, this is Harley Quinn's actual debut.
Oh, in the comics?
In the comics, in the continuity. They don't give her an actual, origin. They're just Harley Quinn's been here the whole time.
Yeah, just never noticed.
Pretty much it. I could totally be wrong. Someone's going to tweet and be that's not his... whatever. But
you would be educating us.
Yeah. But it's really interesting. I have a feeling you're going to go... Oh, I know who the end of this is. But that being said, the ride itself, because it takes Batman through such an emotional roller coaster, which is why I think it relates to Gotham Knights so well.
What's the thing we always say? If your thing is good because of a twist, then it's not good.
Then it's not going to be good.
Great.
This is good. I mean, every series, or every issue, there's an emotional twist to it that leads you into the next issue that works really... And it just kind of hits on... every aspect of Batman.
That's awesome.
Which is really good. I think it's really interesting. So I'm gonna, like I said, it's a longer one. But it's
we'll see if I can power through it.
Yeah, I think you will.
We'll see. It depends on when you get it to
me.
It
really drives itself. It really once you get one, you'll want to go through the rest of it.
All right. I'm gonna give you a YouTube video.
Oh, all right.
It's a longer one, but do you know who Richard Feynman is?
This name sounds familiar.
So
why do I know this name?
This is a guy who he was the guy who during the Challenger explosion.
Yes.
Before the explosion was that guy in the sci-fi movies who's got papers falling out of his briefcase and his hair's all crazy and he was running around going you can't do it, it's gonna blow, and everyone was like, you're
Richard
crazy.
Feynman?
Yeah. So afterwards they were like, look, how did you know this? And he held a press conference and he asked for a glass of ice water, and they were like, you haven't even spoken yet. And he was like, just give me the thing. And they like pour it. He sits it down. He drops a thing into it, and then talks for like 5 minutes. And he's like, I'm glad you all could be here with me today. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what went wrong with the Challenger explosion, blah, 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 blah. And after about 5 minutes, he pulls out the thing he put in the water, and he says, so you know those joints that you use on the ends of the spacecraft that are supposed to keep the oil container from leaking?
Right.
Well, that's this. And you made it heat resistant. You made it heat resistant, but you didn't make it cold resistant. And they launched in January. So he's like, so this is it now, and it's coming apart. Wow. He's crazy. So this is what I think is the last footage of him teaching. Okay. And it's a documentary group that went to his house when he was, I think, pretty close to death. Yeah. And just asking him questions. How do magnets work? What is
so
fire?
We get it down on tape type of thing?
Yeah. Okay. And he just goes through like, oh, it's like this when it does this other thing. And it's something you don't really have to pay too much attention to. Right. But he teaches you quantitative physics, basically, in a short amount of time.
Am I going to be able to join Mensa after watching this video?
You will be able to. They will not let you in.
Excellent. Yeah. That's the ways I like it. All right. Awesome. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, should be a good time.
No words.
I know. Well, I was going to say, I've been giving you a lot. I gave you 6 books of
I'm like, here's a DVD, and you're like, here's a fucking anthology.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, like Mouse took you like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's true. All right. That's good, because I needed a break. Awesome. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So I'll send it to you at some point.
All right. I think that's gonna do it. Yeah. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
What?
Where can they find us?
Oh, I don't know.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, well,
let's do this.
So it's we're on Twitter, we're on the tweeter, and that is our handle on that is Media Lunch Break.
Email?
Our email is themedialunchbreak@gmail.com.
The website
is themedialunchbreak.com.
YouTube?
You can search for us on there. It's the Media Lunch Break.
iTunes?
Yep, you can search for us on there.
SoundCloud?
Yeah, it's SoundCloud / The Media Lunch Break.
By the way, iTunes and SoundCloud, subscribe if you find us on there.
Also Google Play Music.
Yep, subscribe to us there too.
Is that 8? Because we've got 9 now.
Oh, we do. Patreon.
Oh, patreon.com / The Media Lunch Break. We got our first patron.
We did?
Yeah.
Who is it?
My girlfriend.
Yay!
So that's great.
All right.
I need to relook at that because I don't remember what do they call those? Perks. What the perks are.
All right,
So I got to figure out.
Nice.
There's some stuff we probably can't. I just put a bunch of stuff on there and was like, it'll be fine.
And premiering this week, you know what else is there?
What else?
We're on the Facebook.
That's right.
With a book of faces.
Chris finally did something.
I did something. I did a thing, and I'm never going to do another thing again.
Hey, I'm going to ask you right now. Do you think you can edit the name?
Did I spell it wrong? I did it! Did I spell it with one word?
Yeah.
I always do this!
Yeah.
I always forget.
I tried.
Lunch break
it's fine.
Is 2 words.
You know, it's funny. The only reason I know that is because I Googled lunch break and nothing came up for 1 word. So I was like, oh, it must be 2 words.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
but if you can, do it. If you can't, it's fine.
I might.
About it.
We'll see. Well, I'll think
Maybe write a letter to Facebook and see.
Hey, dear Facebook, I'm an idiot. Can I change this? I feel like there's got to be a way because people change their name on Facebook all the time because they get married or divorced or kill someone. I don't know, whatever.
Why would you? Oh, I see.
Witness protection program.
Sure.
Or yada yada yada.
Yeah. Wow. You know a lot about this.
I can't say how. I gotta go now.
Marvel will kill me.
Marvel's gonna kill me because we just all right, yeah, that's gonna do it for us. We're gonna be back pretty soon with a news episode, and until then, Cubs win.
Cubs win. Sorry if you live in Cleveland.
Just give it another 48 years. All right, bye.
Bye.